She had her palms pointed to the sky and her eyes watering from a life much too difficult for a child to live. Praying that if she died, she would one day rise like a butterfly with love engraved on its wings. She bled tears for years since kicked out of her mother's womb at a premature state. Where she's from, shedding her tears a lot like slitting a wrist. For the pain deeply contained inside this child's soul's got her jumping through the halo of a death wish. Only 9 years old, and she walks like a giant with battle-tested scars and a weary wisdom better saved for a later date. Like most women, she carried her family's weight on a still undeveloped frame. She was always called upon and never appreciated till this day. Her name was Ikram, and she was my favorite cousin. With a high on life that can only be described as hyper and this uncanny ability to pick anybody up around her that's feeling low. Was probably the only baby on the block that could change her own diaper, trying to find a four-leaf clover for directions to a rainbow. But that fierce independence didn't come without a cost. Was thrown on the floor in front of her grandmother's feet by a mother whose black hold of a heart was lost. Got slapped in the face by maternity's waist, cracking a piece of a newborn skull on the only mother that would have her, Earth. And even she couldn't soften the fall. That crack in the head led to a life plagued with uncontrollable seizures. Most newborns get a slap on the backside as an introduction to pain, but not for this special child. When she was born, the sky separated from the rain. For through every dark night there is a bright day, so why not as a welcome to this world get the darkest out of the way? Every time she had an attack, she was reminded of her mother's shame, with this yearning to be wanted in the form of a loved one that never came. Now, for every third world nation, there are third-rate doctors that can't diagnose what it is that is wrong. The only thing that could calm her down were the soothing sounds my grandmother made while humming her favorite song. Her village convinced themselves every time she slipped into that out-of-body state, it was Shaitan that inhabited her shell and was the one to blame. See, Shaitan and the devil are the same, so every time she started twitching and foaming at the mouth, they would spit in her face. When I first witnessed this, I had to be physically restrained for 2 separate hospital visits for the result of my rage. When I left, I tried with all I could muster to convince her I would be back one day. Staring into my eyes as if I were the child that needed reassuring, she simply made me promise I would never forget her name. 2 weeks into December, I get a phone call from back home telling me my Joy died from a violent seizure that resulted in her swallowing her tongue. 2 weeks into December was 2 days before her birthday. She never even made it to be 10 years young. She had her palms pointed to the sky and her eyes watering from a life much too difficult for a child to live. Praying that if she died, she would one day rise like a butterfly with love engraved on its wings. Until this day, every time I see a butterfly, I hear your favorite song humming along the whisper of a wind. You will always live on in my heart, and your name, Ikram, will forever be engraved on my wings.